so they changed it. Moderation helps everyone feel safe. Got it. All right, let's see if we can get the angle of this adjusted slightly. All right, there we go. And we'll see who all jumps in to the live stream. Hey, what's going on, Sean? How you doing this afternoon, or at least afternoon in Central Time? 16:16 right now. Happy Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. Just went and got the mail, and it had the utility bill in it, so I'm opening that now. That's going to be a disaster. It's been pretty warm around here. Well, it's not too bad. Yeah, it's not too bad. That's tolerable. Okay, you're up in Pennsylvania. Yeah, no kidding. That's the thing, and it's so funny when people say it, but you hear people say it all the time, like, hey, if you feel lonely, just stop paying your bills, right? You'll find out you have a lot of people that care about you, a lot more than you thought, because those bills, they don't stop. And they'll keep on coming, and they want to know why they're not getting paid, so that's always fun. But yeah, it's been brutally hot here, just like I think a lot of the U.S., it's been brutally hot here in North Alabama. So how's everything going in Pennsylvania? A little warm up there? Looks like, let's see, kind of looks like might just be my screen. Yep, maybe. The way it looked like it was a little foggy or something. I don't know what was going on with that. At least on my phone, that's how it looks. Been warmer than average, cooler today though, actually. Yeah, it was kind of similar here. We had some cloud cover and, you know, it just didn't seem as hot. But no, it's been brutally hot. So we've been out of town, went to Orlando, Florida, and then over to South Carolina, Hilton Head Island, went over there, and it was actually to the beach, and it was actually cooler there than it was here. It was in the upper 90s, I think, right at 100 a couple of days last week, something like that, 97, 98, pretty much all week. And then where we were at, it was like 90 every day. So that was really nice. Good change of pace, but drove back home, pull into the driveway. Of course, everything's dead, right? Yard is dead, grass is, everything's starting to turn brown. So it's that time of the year. Haven't gotten any rain lately. Well, we got some a couple days ago, but you couldn't tell it. Ground soaked it up so fast. So we'll see who all jumps on. We have a lot to discuss. Not really, but keep everyone in suspense. Oh. But yeah, so Pennsylvania. Let's see, are you hunting? Are you able to hunt? Are you able to hunt like black bear and stuff up there? I'm assuming you can. We're looking at doing a hunt in Virginia next year. And I think the black bear tag up there is like 150 bucks. So the plan is to go up there, hunt whitetail. But since we're already gonna be there, we're thinking about tacking on a black bear tag just in case we see one. That would be more of like a, I don't know if I'd want to call it a once in a lifetime hunt, because you'd like to think that you can, you know, get out there maybe a little more frequently than once in a lifetime, but we'll see. So we shall see. It's kind of the plan as it sits. Still going to go to Kentucky this year at least. Don't know if this year will be the last year that we go to Kentucky, but we're really thinking we're gonna have some luck this year. With as much scouting as we've done in Kentucky the past couple of years and hunting, we think we're gonna be good to go. Black bear deer, no elk where I live, but there are elk north and east. You live in southwestern. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, here, you know, in Bama, it's really whitetail. That's the big thing that you're gonna hunt in Alabama. I mean, you know, you can hunt hogs. We got plenty of those. So you can hunt pigs, whitetail. They do have alligator season. That's more down south. Sandhill crane. What else? It's not, I mean, really the whitetail, I mean, that's your big game animal. I can call it big game, medium game. That's really your only option here in Alabama. So I think the closest place that we could hunt elk is Kentucky, I believe. I don't think Tennessee offers elk hunts. I don't think they have a huntable population just yet. I don't know, I gotta check into that, but I know Kentucky does. They're the closest. I think they're the closest state that allows you to elk hunt, so. That's definitely something that's on the list. I was actually texting back and forth with a buddy of mine, going and looking at, there's a website we were looking at earlier about elk hunts out west. There's a kind of like a guide service out in Idaho where they offer sort of like a 3-day crash course on, you know, basically all things elk hunting, right? This is what you need to know. You know, this is how you call elk. This is how you know, electronically scout, things to look for, all that fun stuff. This is how you go off into the wilderness and go kill an elk, right? Essentially. And looking at it, I mean, it's a pretty good deal. When you think of the cost versus what you learn versus trying to do it yourself, and the amount of time, effort, and money you would waste if you didn't go that route. So it's looking like a pretty good deal. You heading out? Be careful. But yeah, so that, I think it's called, I heard about it on Backfire. I think the video, what's going on, Jeff? Let's see, Backfire just posted a video about, they were like doing a bison hunt or something. And he's up there with those folks, right? The people I'm talking about that offer that crash course on kind of elk hunting and learning how to do it. They offer a 3-day course, and he's up there with that bunch. And so that's how I heard about it. I was watching the video and they said, hey, yeah, you know, we're from, I think it's Process Based Hunter is the website. You can go check it out. But they offer guided hunts, like guided hunts, semi-guided hunts, that type of stuff. If you want to go that route, they do that. And so, you know, it's one of those where the crash course or the educational course, right, 3-day elk hunting deal, I think it's like if you stay in a walled tent, they offer 2 different options for lodging. You can stay in like a tent, a walled tent, canvas walled tent, or you can stay in sort of like a lodge / cabin. I think the canvas walled tent version is like $1,500, and the cabin version's like $1,800, $1,900, something like that. So those 2 options, I mean, that's pretty good, right? Now, of course, you got to get out there. right? You actually have to physically get there. So there's going to be a cost associated with it, whether you fly or whether you drive. But again, back to versus you trying to learn it yourself, try to research it as much as possible and all of that, you're able to go learn from guys that do it day in and day out, and they can teach you how to call and all that fun stuff, what to look for, how to actually hunt elk, and how to be successful. So really what you're doing is you're shortening your learning curve, and anytime you can do that in anything, I mean, that's obviously more beneficial to you. That looked like a pretty good option. So if I was ever to get really serious about wanting to go elk hunting, I would probably look into something along those lines. Boar hunt, yes. Wild hogs. I mean, obviously I'd like to kill a boar. Went to Texas a few weeks ago. Was it a few weeks ago? Went to Texas at the beginning of June. Killed a couple of sows. Obviously I would have liked to have killed a big boar with the tusk and all that fun stuff, but Oh, yes, Jeff. So I couldn't remember who, I thought it was you that had kept mentioning, hey, convert 6.5 to 30 TC. So I did that, and I think I've got 4 firings on the brass now. Stand by. Let me show you something. So I've got 4 firings. I only did 10 pieces of brass when I made the conversion, and everything at least worked great, and so far has worked great. I think, like I said, 4 firings. Now I did run into one issue, but I think it's a one-off. I don't think there's any problem with the actual converting 6.5 Creedmoor to 30 TC process, but I was using Starline brass. I had 10 pieces sitting around that were brand new. I think they were brand new, never used. And so I just went, converted them, and then I tried to, I was just loading up the 10 to continue to shoot them and reload them and shoot them and see how many firings I can get out of the brass before I run into issues. Oh, excuse me, check that guy out. Yeah, worky. So, crushed the shoulder on that one. I think that's probably one of the first, that might be the first time I've ever done that to a cartridge. But it just did not want to seat. Now the other 9, I had no issues seating the bullet, so I'm not exactly sure why this one caused me so much headache, but I went to seat it, and I mean, the thing just collapsed. Lot of force to try to seat that bullet, and I'm really not sure why, because I seated the next 9 without issue. So I think that's a one-off. I don't think that was due to converting the Creedmoor brass, but I don't know. So far, I mean, seems like it's holding up. Favorite 308 load. Well, if we're going 30 cal, if you're asking me for 308 Winchester, specifically that cartridge, it would probably be right now it would be a 168 grain McGuire Ballistics copper rose hollow point bullet. That would be, which I'll show you that. Stand by. So it would be this company, right? McGuire Ballistics. These guys are based out of California. There's the bullet, solid copper. This is their copper rose hollow point, so massive hollow point on the front. It expands and sheds some of its weight by design. It sheds some of its weight, and then it retains sort of the shank portion of the bullet. That weight is retained and continues to drive through the animal. I have a lot of faith and confidence in these, so go check them out. But the 168 grain is what I like to shoot. Now, I'm not exactly sure in a 308 Winchester. Something with IMR 4064 would probably be a good choice, maybe around 42 grains, something along those lines. I shoot that in a 30 Thompson center, So a 30 TC is the cartridge that I shoot that bullet in, and I've found good luck with Shooter's World match rifle powder, 46.9 grains. That gets me like 28, 30 feet per second with that bullet. And then the accuracy is good enough. It's acceptable. I killed a really big 9-point last year, whitetail, with that bullet powder combination. And then I've done some more testing since then, and IMR 4895 has been a outstanding powder in terms of performing in that 30 Thompson center in that cartridge. I've given up a little bit of velocity. I could probably get a little bit higher than where I'm at right now. It doesn't seem like I'm really you know, at the max, I guess you'll call it. I'm not seeing any pressure signs that would be super concerning at all. So the 30 TC with this bullet, I'm at 45 grains of IMR 4895, and that's a compressed load. So that's part of the reason too, at least at the overall length that I'm running, which is 2.7, which obviously in 308 you can load that out a little bit longer. I think it's, what is it, 2.8 for some bullet profiles. What's going on, Reloading Quest? What's up, Zach? 2.8. I know some, depending on what the profile of the bullet, you're talking 2.75. So very similar cartridge overall lengths between the 30 TC and the 308. So that would come into play because it's a pretty compressed charge at 45 grains with this bullet, and it's going 2720. So, you know, I'm giving up a little over 100 feet per second between those two loads, but the precision, right, and the accuracy at which that IMR 4895 load performs, it's outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Went out and shot a 5-shot group that was under a 1/2 inch at 100 yards. And it was like 2720 on the velocity. SD was like 4.2. And so I wanted to go back, shoot another 5-shot group just to validate and make sure my zero was good to go before I went to Texas to hunt those hogs. And shot another 5-shot group. Velocity was like right around, same thing, like 2720. SD was like 4.6, something like that. And its group was just over a 1/2 inch. So yeah, I can't complain about that at all. I'll take that all day long. So 30 cal 6.5 is overrated. Depends on what you're trying to make the 6.5 do, right? The 6.5, for whether you're talking about the 6.5 by 55 Swede or 6.5 Creedmoor, or you're talking about 260 Remington, you know, 6.5 Grendel, all of that you have to take into account. What are you trying to do with that cartridge? Are you trying to do more with it than it was actually designed to do or intended to do, right? 6.5 by 55 Swede's been putting moose on the ground for a long time. They've been killing big animals with that cartridge for a long time. That cartridge has been around for a while. Same thing with like a 30-30. You can't tell me. I bet you probably can't even count the amount of big game animals that have been put on the ground with a 30-30 Winchester, right? So now, is that the most optimal cartridge for that application? No, it's not. Could you get something better to do the job? Yes, you could, right? It's all in how you use it, right? Like the 6.5 Creedmoor for me, I think it's the perfect. I think it's the perfect cartridge if you were like, hey, I want to hunt in Alabama or in the Southeast. I want to go hunt whitetail. What would be a great cartridge to use? I would start you at a 6.5 Creedmoor or a 7mm 08, something along those lines. 270 Winchester would be great also, but something in that range. And I mean, I don't think you're gonna have any problems, right? Between that and your bullet selection, you're good to go. I mean, I've talked to guys that have killed elk with a 6.5 Creedmoor, and now they're not those same guys that go out and say, hey, you can shoot one at 800 yards and life will be good. No, they try to get as close as they can get, and they shoot a monolithic projectile like a Barnes, right? Tip TSX, something like that. Or an LRX, like I think it's a 127 LRX. And they kill elk with a 6.5 Creedmoor. So Not saying that's what I would take, because if I ever go elk hunting, because I've never been, and it's probably going to be one of those once in a lifetime hunts, because I simply just can't afford to pack up, go hunt out west, and just do that year in and year out. Like I can't. Like, we're going to Kentucky to try to kill a really nice whitetail in Kentucky, and we go twice. We go and bow hunt once, and then we go back and we gun hunt. We go 2 weekends out of the season. We've done that the past couple of years. That's the first time we've kind of started doing that. And even that is, I mean, that's just an extra expense, right? You're paying for another license, an out-of-state license at that. It gets pretty expensive. So for me, going to hunt elk, that would be more of a once-in-a-lifetime thing. So I would want to make sure that I go with plenty of gun, right? I would probably, if I were to go elk hunting, say somebody hit me up, hey, next week we're gonna go shoot some elk. All right. I mean, I gotta be honest with you. It would come down to, with what I got right now, it very well could be that 30 TC. I mean, it would be between that. Yeah, it would be between that and the 270 Winchester. Those would be the two cartridges that I would have to go back and forth on which one I would take, right? Probably take both and just make a game time decision. But what's going on, Vanessa? Jeff, 130 grain Barnes. Oh yeah. Yeah, 130 grain Barnes, tip TSX and 308. That's Ryan Muckenhern from, Vortex. Like, that's his go-to standard load. I don't know how many times you hear him talk about that on the Vortex podcast, like in a 308 Winchester, 130 grain Barnes, and you can really get it cooking, and that gives you some good flat trajectory out to ethical hunting distances, right? And you're delivering a solid copper 30 cal bullet. I know it's a little light, 130, but 30 cal diameter, it'll get the job done. Oh, what's going on, Derek? You spoke with JGS on the way home from work, likely gonna order. Oh, sweet. 270 O'Connor reamer. It's a 280 Ackley, neck down to 270, slightly more capacity than the 270 Ackley. Cool. That's pretty cool. Stay in the 120 to 130 and the 6.5. Need more is what I've heard. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the bullet. I've loaded up to the 160, the Hornady, the round nose that they offer, the 160 round nose. I've loaded those, and those things shoot great. And they were going 2,500 feet per second. Killed a deer with it, punched through the deer, and it was a doe. She ran, piled up about 40 yards away, dead deer. So did its job, right? Punched through. It's exactly what it should do, right? That much mass on that diameter, it should be delivering pass-throughs. In the last 40 years, only one cartridge has ever dropped game 100% of the time. Where they stood, the 6.5 by 284 Norma, 130 grain Nosler Accubon, 127 grain LRX, 140 grain Burger VLD. 270 Win is all you need for, oh yeah. Oh, there's the Snared Life. Look at him jumping in here. Got to get caught up on all his content. He's the Snared Life. That's at the top of my list of YouTube channel recommendations. Long conversation, but I can send you lots of evidence. Good stuff. No, the 270 is a great round. I came around to it a little bit later on in my, reloading / whatever gun journey, cartridge journey. Huge fan of 270 Winchester. Really big fan. So 30-30 has killed more stuff than most other cartridges combined. I completely agree. What are your thoughts on the 30 TC? Well, you must have heard me ranting and raving about it earlier, or you must have missed me talking about it. That's like, I absolutely love the 30 TC. Absolutely love it. With IMR 4895 and these bullets, McGuire Ballistics, copper rose hollow point, solid copper projectile with a massive hollow point on the front. That is I mean, that's all I need, right? So it's a really, really good round. I'm a huge fan of it. That's another one that, just kind of maybe the timing of it. Right now, that was the predecessor to the 6.5 Creedmoor, so in my opinion, it has merit, right? It should be a really good cartridge because it was purposely designed to kind of do some similar stuff to the 6.5 Creedmoor, right? They kind of went down a rabbit hole of like trying to come up with a really efficient cartridge that could be used for target and that type of stuff, competitive shooting. And the 30TC, that's kind of how it evolved. And that was between Hornady and Thompson Center back before Smith & Wesson ruined Thompson Center. They got together and they were like, hey, we want to release, Thompson Center was like, hey, we want to release a bolt action rifle, but we don't want to just release the rifle. It'd be the first one we've ever made. Like we want to really go all out and actually have a proprietary cartridge to go along with it. And that's how the 30TC came about. So really cool. And the rifle that I have is the Thompson Center Icon, which you go and look that one up. That was kind of their flagship. Like, hey, we're gonna hit the market with a really, really nice offering for a bolt action rifle, especially at the time. Like, go and look at some of the specs on that thing as a factory rifle when it was released. That was pretty sweet. It was really nice. So, especially the people they had working on that thing, designing it. Huge fan of 30TC. What's going on, David? So yeah, good question there, William. My choice of elk hunting cartridge would be 300 Wisdom. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about what I have currently on hand. But yeah, 300 Wisdom would be. That's got to be up near the top of the list. If you're like, hey, just give me a cartridge. If I could pick, right, what I'm going to take with me, 300 Wisdom's got to be up there, along with 300 Win Mag, 338 Win Mag, 7 Rim Mag, 280 Ackley, 280 Rim, yep, 6.5 PRC, all that stuff. What part of Alabama are you from? North Alabama. South Dakota. What's going on, David? Yeah, 7mm for elk, deer, and antelope. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you really, especially if you hand load, 7 Rim Mag really doesn't get much better than that if you hand load. I mean, that's a very versatile 7mm in general, right? 7mm 08, 280 Remington, 280 Ackley, 7 Rim Mag. Now, of course, you got the 7 PRC that everyone's jumping on board with. Even 28 Nosler. I mean, or you can go, what is it, 7mm Weatherby Mag, whatever. There's a lot of options, in that 7mm class, and it's a great big game getter, right? Call it that particular diameter. Yeah, 270 Winchester won't ever be without one. Same. David, my choice of hand load bullets are Accubon. Oh, the long range version. Federal Fusions, man, if you just go buy those bullets from Federal or wherever you can get them, like maybe not the factory ammo, just go buy the bullets and load those up. Those Fusions are phenomenal bullets. The Terminal Ascents, yep, those are also awesome. Barnes, Tip TSX, LRX, yeah, all that's good stuff. I'm a really big fan of bonded bullets and monolithics. So, snared life. If you're not good at tracking, then you should shoot structural things and not lungs. If you want them to drop, shoot structure. Yep. Exactly. 100%. If you subscribe to the, hey, put it behind the front shoulder and put it in the vitals and squeeze the trigger, and you think that the animal is just going to drop instantly, and then you get frustrated or you get upset or you think the bullet didn't perform because the animal didn't drop, I gotta be honest with you, I've killed numerous deer, not a ton, I'm not gonna stand here and be like, oh man, I've killed 500 deer in my life and this, that, and that. Like you hear a lot of other people say. No, I've killed a decent amount of deer, decent enough to know that they ain't gonna drop. You put it right behind the front shoulder, they're not dropping. They're just not. Now, you might have one that does, but the vast majority, at least in my experience and a lot of other experiences that I've seen with friends and family, you put it behind the front shoulder, you shoot lung or something in the vitals like that, and you're going to be tracking the deer. Now, the distance may vary, obviously, but yeah, if you're trying to drop that animal, you're going to have to shoot something that's going to lights out, right? Like that's how that works. Go watch any videos you want to on the subject. I don't care. I don't care who you are. That's the real world. I don't care what you believe, what your friend told you. I don't care what somebody said about a certain this, that, or the other. A 25-06, that's the cartridge that just delivers lightning, and drops every animal that it ever shoots. I'm sorry, I don't believe that, but if that's your experience, that's awesome. You need to write a book about it, and you need to document it, because it's pretty rare that you never have to track an animal. So, but yeah, you better shoot some structure if you don't want them going anywhere. Reloading Quest, you're excited to test. Oh man, yeah. Yeah, so you got the 7mm version. What are they, like 168? I can't think of how heavy those are. They might not be 168s on their 7mm. Derek put in for a cow, elk in Utah. If I draw my 300 Wisdom modified, Tika, 7PRC are the top contenders. Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Also is the 280 Ackley's, but number one choice is the 270 7PRC. Jeff trying to get ready to build a 6mm PRC, may be a while. Okay, yeah, you're gonna neck down from the 6.5 case. That's awesome. Okay, yeah, I knew I thought they had a 168 grain version in 7mm. So you got the 143, the 160, and the 168. Good stuff. Yeah, Derek, you do. I mean, you need to go reach out to them. You can go find them on Instagram and message Sam McGuire. He's the guy that started it. Great guy, super responsive. I mean, he'll be happy to answer any questions you have, or you just want to sit there and talk about, hey, trying to do this, trying to do that. What bullet should I go with? What do you think? What are your thoughts? What have you seen in the field? Because that's what they do. They go out and they test these things constantly. He's a guide. The guy that actually started this, McGuire Ballistics, he's a professional guide. That's what he does for a living. Or that's what he did for a living primarily. And then he started making these bullets because he was seeing in the field, like, hey, I need something that's going to perform the way I think it should perform. And with them being in California and the lead ban went into place, they wanted to offer something that would get the job done. So go check them out. They're pretty awesome. They're priced like any other premium monolithic bullet. So, don't get sticker shock when you go and look at their website. They're just like everybody else. Hammer bullets, they're just like any other solid copper monolithic that you're going to hunt with. So, do I ever take neck shots on big game? I've never done that. I've never taken a neck shot. I'm just trying to think. Give me a second to think back through. So, because I've had a few instances where I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to think back over kill shots, right, and think about what happened. There's been a couple of times where I've dropped whitetail where they stood. I think three. I've got three that are coming to mind very vividly. Yeah, three that are coming to mind very vividly. One was with this bullet, and that is actually filmed. It's documented on this channel. You can go watch the video so you can see the shot placement. All right, so you can go look at that. That 9-point whitetail, he didn't take another step. He dropped like a bag of hammers, okay? Now, another instance where that happened, I killed an 8-point, kind of a smaller 8-point on some public land. I was over hunting with my brother. And this shot, now, so the first one, the shot distance was, maybe 100 yards. I can't remember the exact shot distance on that 9-point buck. The 8-point is about 80, somewhere in that range, 80 yards. Oh, the 9-point, that was with a 30 TC. So that was the cartridge that, cartridge and bullet, the McGuire Ballistics, Copper Rose, hollow point. That's what I used on the 9-point, he dropped. And then what I used on the 8-point was a 6.5 Creedmoor, and that had a 140 grain Spear Gold Dot loaded up in it. And that was, I'm almost positive that was 42 grains of H4350. And that was at like 80, 85-ish yards with my Kimber 84M Hunter. I don't have that particular rifle anymore. And it had a Leupold fixed 2.5 power scope on it, the ultralight. And that was a high shoulder shot. It was not intentionally a high shoulder shot. It was just, I was so excited and I was trying to freehand. I actually pulled the shot up and to the left a little bit when I went to pull the trigger. I was just super pumped. And that was an unintentional high shoulder shot, and he dropped. He didn't take a step, but the bullet passed through. So that was a complete pass through with that 140, and it shut him down, high shoulder. And then the third one was with a massive, biggest doe I've ever killed, and she was at 100 yards, roughly 100, 110, something like that. And she was hard quartering away from me. And I had it was 6.5 Creedmoor with the 129 grain Hornady SST, and I tucked it right behind that front shoulder, her left shoulder. I tucked it right behind that shoulder, and it drove all the way up into her chest and stopped there. It didn't exit. And she dropped, didn't take another step. So, you know, it's one of those where, you know, I always try to put the shot, for me, it's always, I try to hit vitals, right? I don't necessarily go for a high shoulder shot. I don't go for a neck shot. It's always in the vitals. If I put a shot in the vitals, I know that's a dead deer. 100% of the time, that's a dead deer. Now, what comes along with that is, okay, you might have to go look for it, right? And I know that going in, so I don't get upset when I have to go look for a deer. When I shoot them and they run off, like that's okay, because now, you know, now the work begins. It's time to go track the deer, right? So I'm sure the neck shot is fine. I know people that take neck shots, and a lot of people swear by them because it'll drop the animal and you don't have to worry about tracking them, right? It's just, for me, I punch through the vitals and it'll be a dead deer every time. That's just, that's what I do. Okay, you've been in touch with Sam about heavier 277 bullets. That's awesome. Neck shots, drop them. Usually, Derek, aim for neck shoulder junction, broadside quartering to me. Excuse me, I've got a video on your 202-inch mule deer, broadside 350 yards, 168 grain Berger VLD, 7 rim mag, 73 grains Rotumbo, 3,000 feet per second impact, neck shoulder junction. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know of much else that's gonna take a step getting hit with that. Getting hit with that, you know, 350 yards, you put it right there in that neck shoulder junction. What's going on, Harvey? What's up, Chris? Yeah, you jumped into bullet selection. Well, yeah, yes and no. Oh, speaking of bullet selection, so the whole reason I even went live, I haven't even got to that part yet. You guys need to go to AmericanReloading.com right now if you're interested at all in the Hornady CX bullet, because they have a smoking deal going on right now on some pulled CX bullets. They're selling them in 250 count packs. I think I've ordered some already. I had to make sure I hit submit before I told all y'all about it. No, I'm just kidding. But they had 6.5, 130 grain, 130 grain version on there. They had the 277 diameter, 130 grain version on there. They also had the 145 ELDX in 277 diameter. So if you're interested in that bullet, you can go get that too. And then they had the 7mm 160 grain version, which I know is that's the one bullet. Like if you go watch Little Crow Gunworks, that is the one bullet in 7mm that they recommend above all else is the 160 grain CX. They've got that one on there, and they've got the 180 grain 308 version. So if you're interested at all in CX bullets from Hornady, this is the first time I've seen them available on American Reloading. Now is the time to go buy them. I looked it up. Those bullets ain't cheap. They're on sale at Midway right now. Midway USA has them on sale, and the cheapest is like 94 cents a bullet. And so I ordered one 250 count pack of each, right? So I got the 6.5, I got the 277 diameter, the 308, and the 7mm version. It was like $330 for 1,000 bullets, for 1,000 Hornady CX bullets, right? 250 in each, 250 in each diameter. And if I would have tried to go buy that from Midway USA, now of course, granted, those are gonna be brand new, right? So I'm gonna have to cull some because they're pulled. I got it, I know that. But still, just with before you even pay tax, it's almost right at $1,000 if you try to go buy that equivalent order brand new. You're talking about $1,000. Like that's because you're getting 250 right per. So I mean that's 5 boxes of 50 because that's what they sell them in. They sell them in 50 count boxes from Hornady. So that's a deal. You know, if you guys are interested in that, I mean that's a really good way because you. Out of 250 bullets, yeah, you're probably gonna have a bunch with pull marks on them and that stuff, but I bet you'll have enough that will be suitable for load development. And you'll probably have some left over, right, to hunt with and all that. So I took a chance on it. So we'll see. Just ordered them, you know, right before I went live. That was kind of the whole reason I wanted to go live. I was sitting there, I was like, man, this is a smoking deal. I need to kind of throw that out there to whoever jumps on. But yeah, so I really want to try the CX bullets. I haven't done that yet. I tried the GMX. That's right. In the 25-06 project, I was trying the GMX, and Reloading Quest was doing the CX. I haven't loaded any of the CX bullets yet. So I'm gonna get this big order in, and you guys will probably get sick of seeing Hornady CX bullet reloading videos. But so that'll be pretty cool. I want to try, I'm thinking about trying those 7mm, the 160s. I'm thinking about trying those in the 7 Rim Mag project that I'm working on that I don't think I've done a video on yet. It's kind of started off a little sketchy, little sketchy, way over pressure. Yeah, way over pressure. It should be a fun project though. But very first shot I took, very first reload, I was like, yeah, no. We're gonna have to go pull those. You went to American Reloading 2 days ago. They didn't have it. They change, literally they upload stuff. It seems like daily. They send out a promotional email pretty much daily. I think I get one daily about, hey, you know, I think today it was like 35% off brass or 40% off brass, 35% off bullets, right? So they send out those emails daily. And so I pretty much check just about every day what they're posting, and that's pretty much what you have to do if you want to try to get their premium mix, which you guys go back and watch some of the videos I did on those. That's where I got really lucky and got those Federal Terminal Ascent bullets in 7mm. You just have to be on there at the right time because those premium mix sales that they do, those sell out real fast. You'll try that reloading website. You're looking for CX bullets. Yeah, I mean, if you know, they're going to have pull marks. Some of them are going to be worse than others. You know, I've bought pull bullets from them in the past, and you know, the majority of them have been great. And then you've got some with super deep pull marks. Well, okay, I'm just going to use those as siders, right? Maybe I just scrub my barrel down because I'm switching to a monolithic bullet from a jacketed bullet. And that's the new advice that everyone wants to give, even though no one was given that advice 6-8 months ago, right before Backfire and Ron Spomer threw that out on their channels. Oh, by the way, you need to go scrub your barrel down to bare metal every time you switch bullet construction. Nobody, and I'm talking because I've been posting videos since like 2017, 2018, And I don't think at one time did anyone ever comment on a video, oh, hey, by the way, you probably have better accuracy if you go clean your barrel all the way down to bare metal and then shoot a solid copper. I don't think anyone's ever said that. So I love how everyone's coming out of the woodwork now, acting like this was some, oh man, this was just common knowledge. Everyone knows that. Yeah, right. Didn't nobody say anything about it if you did know it, trying to keep it all to yourself. So yeah, that's kind of what's nice about having those pull bullets is you're going to have some that are obviously good enough for you to use, do low development, go hunting with, all that fun stuff. But then on the, just by the nature of them being pull bullets, you're going to have some that are not worth that. So you want to use those as your cider rounds, right? So it works out. I mean, I'm a big fan of, I know some people, there's been some people that have commented on those videos like, oh, hey, I ordered some, based off your recommendation, and they're just all trash, right? Or they're all a bunch of, Hornady interlock bullets when they're supposed to be premium hunting bullets. It's like, yeah, well, same thing happened to me. I made that big order for, I think 277 diameter, 308 diameter, and 7mm back on my very initial order, the first time I ever ordered from them. And the 7mm was just, I say it was a big bust. It was like 500 Federal Fusions, which are great bullets, but compared to like the 277 diameter where I got a ton of Barnes bullets, that's what I think of in terms of a premium bullet. I'm thinking like a Nosler Accubon, a Barnes, something like that, right? So yeah, not necessarily bullet selection. We can talk bullet selection though. It seems like a topic that is kind of making its rounds right now on YouTube. I really want to try North Fork bullets. I think it is. I gotta get my oven preheating, so y'all sit tight. Gonna make a, let's see, what is this? Okay, just a pork tenderloin. Pork tenderloin. I'm gonna cook that for dinner. But yeah, it seems like bullet selection is making its rounds on the YouTubes now. If you kind of go watch some of the more well-known videos, or maybe not even well-known, but it seems like some of the channels I follow, seems like bullet selection is kind of a hot topic now. What type of bullet to use. Derek, I've never used a CX bullet. Factory Hornady outfitter ammo, shoots quarter minute in your Tika, and it's the 160 grain. Nice. Chris, too heavy for me. Darn it, I did get LRX to shoot half in the 708. Nice. You plan on trying the CX this fall, Derek? Jeffrey, for grain weight, copper bullet will oh, I think you meant penetrate, maybe. For the grain weight, copper bullet will penetrate better no matter the caliber. I think that's what you meant to say, Jeff. American Reloading does have them in stock. Bought 3 cases of factory. Oh, okay, you got the factory already. For $33 a box, that's a really good price. More than $1 a round, but for that stuff, that's a really good price. Harvey, he shot heavier than 160 in the 708. Chris, you can get copper. Yes, you can, but copper is long by weight, and I don't want to give up velocity. Hey, CW, there he is. I'm sorry, I'm way behind on comments, CW. I start talking, you know how it is. We start talking, we start rambling. Next thing you know, you're, way behind on comments or questions or whatever. So what's going on, CW? Glad to see you in the chat. Really glad to the service. I think you mentioned it on your video. It was I believe it was like a remembrance of life service or something along those lines. I can't remember exactly how you phrased it for your wife, and I'm glad that went well, man. I'm praying for you, buddy. definitely. I can't even imagine, you know, what you go through daily and how tough it is. So I know it's been a little while since she's passed, but still, I know a lot of people are like, oh, it gets easier as time goes on. I bet it don't. Not in that case. I bet it don't get easier. So 160 CX would be comparable to a 175 or 180 lead. The 708 just doesn't have the sauce. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely, you know, you would have to stomp on it, you know, for sure. Like there would probably be a very, very select range of or a very select powder list that might, you know, give you some good performance. But yeah, to your point, the juice is probably not worth the squeeze in a 708. You go with something like a 145 grain LRX, something like that, maybe a little bit lighter. Who knows, even down to a 120. I think they have like a 120 tip TSX or something like that. And you pump up your velocities, get, you know, good ballistics out of it, solid copper, 7mm bullet. You're definitely gonna kill whatever you're shooting at. Derek, Harvey, monolithic or VLDs improve speed performance. Otherwise, check out Warner bullets. Yeah, Warner tool or whatever they are. I think they make lathe turned or CNC bullets, solid copper. Derek, I tend to go light for caliber with monolithics. Yeah, Warner tool. They I think they're big in like the ELR game. I want to say, I think it's Warner tool. You can go check them out. I don't know if they make hunting bullets though. They might. I know I've seen them post about kind of like some ELR stuff, I believe. Yeah, you can go check them out. CW's in the loading room listening, good stuff. Right, yeah. There's no getting used to that or no, you know, getting over that loss, that level of loss for sure. Okay, so I think I'm caught up. So now I gotta get, wait, is it supposed to be 350? Probably not even heating the oven to the right. Preheat oven to 375. I was close. All right, there we go. Preheat oven to 375. Oh, man. Get the pan out. Because I think this thing takes, let's see, place pork on pan, roast for 30 to 35 minutes uncovered. Got it. 30 to 35 minutes. Okay, because some of them, you got to be very careful about, like when you buy these pork tenderloins, depending on the brand, right, on how they tell you to cook it. You got to read the instructions because some of them will say 30 to 35 minutes, right? This particular brand is Hatfield, and it's 18.4 ounces, so 1.15 pounds. Now, there's another brand that we like to get. It might be Smithfield, maybe. I can't remember now. All of them are really good, but I believe on those, or Hormel, one of them, they say 30 to 35 minutes per pound, right? So you got to do a little bit of math because they're not exactly 1 pound pieces of pork tenderloin. Typically, those take about 45 minutes to cook because they're over a pound. So you just got to be careful. Make sure you read the instructions. And I guess that's with anything that comes with instructions. So it all comes down to the bullet, not the caliber, velocity. Yeah, I mean, it's the bullet and the construction of the bullet. Like that plus where you hit the animal. At the end of the day, I mean, it really doesn't get any more complicated than that. You know, everyone, not everyone, you don't want to throw out generalized statements like that, all encompassing, you know, generalized statements. But I think a lot of people, and Ryan, that's what I like about Ryan from Vortex on these podcasts, because he points it out. He's like, a lot of people get hung up on this high BC, you know, this, that, or the other, like whiz bang. Oh man, I want to go out there and hunt with the highest BC bullet I can get, you know, because who knows, I might take a shot on a deer, 1,200 yards away. Yeah, right. No, you're not. And even if you did, you ain't going to hit it. So what difference does it make? But realistic and ethical shot distances you're talking about for the average person's way less than 400 yards, in my opinion. Just your average run-of-the-mill guy that's going to go out and hunt, he's not going to put in enough time at the range to become proficient enough to go and take a 400-yard shot on a whitetail-sized animal and have a high success rate. I don't see that happening, in my opinion. So it's something that you really got to work at to hone your skills. And so within those distances, you're talking 400 and in, you don't need the highest BC bullet to reach out there and touch them. That's why he likes going with the 130 grain Barnes tip TSX and 308. That's not a high BC round, and still kill stuff dead. So Randy has attested numerous times on the 7 rim mag with 175 grain Nosler partition out to 600 yards on elk. Not a high, no, that's the partition's not a high BC bullet at all. Not in the least. So yeah, that's I don't get hung up on the BC side of the house. Now the CX, over I think traditionally offered solid copper bullets, right? Theirs is, I think it's not a true monolithic. I think it is in the sense of the construction, but I think it's 2 different alloys, I believe Hornady uses. I think it's 2 different bullets, 2 different alloys, I think, in the manufacturing process of the CX. But yeah, it's, those are higher BC than I think your more traditional solid copper or monolithic bullets like a Barnes. Some of these CNC turn bullets, you get pretty high BCs out of them. But I believe the CX is going to be, if you're looking for a higher BC option in that monolithic category, CX is probably going to be the route you want to go if you're concerned about that. Energy on target. I don't necessarily know if I agree with that either. Not 100%. All of these factors, and that's the other part too. I think that all of this comes together to provide an ethical kill, right? At whatever you're shooting, at whatever distance you're shooting, yada, 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 so on and so forth, right? A lot of variables that come into play. I don't think there's any just one variable that you can point to and say, this is the most important, no matter what. It trumps everything else, right? It takes priority over everything else. I don't know. I don't know if you can say that. Not in this context. Ken from South Central Pennsylvania. What's going on, Ken? Derek, I had the plain normal whitetail 150 grain factory ammo pass through 3 deer last season at 300 yards from a 708, 2,500 feet per second. Tikka compact. Nice. I've got 3 boxes of that stuff sitting in my closet. It came with a trade that a guy had, so I've got 3, of the normal whitetail 150 grain factory ammo. Jeff, I ask people, what are you going to do with the load? Be honest on what angle you will shoot. I don't necessarily know what you mean by that. Are you like as far as the shot angle on the animal, maybe? Because like for me, that's really why I started to gravitate more towards bonded bullets and monolithics, right? Because I don't know the way I hunt and the way my family hunts and a lot of my friends hunt, there's not a lot of times where we go hunting and we know, okay, this animal is going to stand right here and they're going to be broadside at this distance, right? There's not a lot of times where that's actually the case. Oftentimes we don't know the angle at which we try to set up to where we think the deer might be moving through an area, might be, you know, whatever. And so we kind of have a good idea, but they're still, it's a wild animal. You know, who knows, right? And so the shot angle, just like that doe, like I was talking about with the 129 grain SST, and that was such an extreme shot angle on that doe quartering away from me. But, you know, I had supreme confidence in the setup that I had. I was sitting on the ground in my tree seat, in my Millennium tree seat, and I had a tripod set up in front of me. And I shot her with, again, it was a 6.5 Creedmoor, 129 grain SST. And I mean, it was only going like 2,700 feet per second, 2,750. It wasn't going fast at all. But it was out of the Savage 110 Tactical, which is still one of the most accurate and consistently accurate and precise factory rifles that I've ever owned. And I had, I can't remember what scope I had on it. Might have been the Cabela's Covenant 7 something. It was a really, a lot of magnification, all that fun stuff. Well, I had shot so much with that setup, man, I was stacking them with that rifle. So I knew where that bullet was going, especially at that distance. And so I had supreme confidence. Even though the shot angle was less than ideal, this bullet is going to go exactly where my crosshairs are. Held there, went exactly there, the deer dropped, right? So you have to work up to a certain level of proficiency with whatever setup you're using, right? To be able to go out there and have the confidence to say, hey, you know, deer's out at 350 yards. I know the dope, all that fun stuff. We're about to have a dead deer on our hands. So Norma factory ammo across the board, most accurate you've ever used. Excuse me. You started buying it only for the brass. Yeah, I know a couple people that actually do that. They buy it just for the brass because it's pretty good brass. Norma brass is, I mean, that's good stuff. And their factory ammo is, you know, reasonably priced. It's not expensive at all, like you might think it would be. Norma seems to live up to advertised velocity. Oh, go check out, and if you're interested in bullet performance at all, then you need to go check out, I think it's Mason Leather on YouTube. It's a guy who does custom leather work. I say custom, it's semi-custom. I did reach out to him about doing a project for me, but it's not truly custom where you give him a design, he'll do whatever you want. It's not that way. He has certain designs that he'll do, so it's not true custom work. It's custom in the sense that you can get like different cartridge, you know, maybe on a cartridge cuff that goes on the buttstock of your rifle, which is really nice. I mean, it's a leather cartridge cuff, but you can get like the name of the cartridge, you know, maybe your name. You can get like an elk on one side, or a deer, or a bear, or a hog, or whatever, right? So there's certain pre-selected designs that he'll do. So it's not true custom, but it's still really nice, high quality stuff. But he posts ballistics gel videos specifically for, I mean, almost primarily for factory ammunition. And I think he does he probably does the best ballistics gel videos on YouTube, at least that I've seen. I mean, he's posting a lot of videos, and it's across the board for a lot of different cartridges. So if you're interested at all in seeing how factory ammunition performs, you need to go check out his channel. And you need to go check out his channel and see some of his stuff, like especially his Hornady ELDX stuff. That might get some people worked up, but like, man, that's some of those ELDX videos, those do not perform well, or at least they have not performed well the times that he shot them into ballistics gel. So yeah, go check them out. It's very interesting stuff. Yeah, Jeff, it's the shot angle and the bullet they want to shoot. Yep. Would you rather have a 280 Ackley or a 277 PRC? Probably just a 280 Ackley, even though, like you had messaged or you had commented before, you know, I mean, availability of components, but at that point, yeah, I'd probably do a 280 Ackley. Once you get down into the 270 range, I mean, there's a lot of bullets to choose from. There's a better selection in 7mm. I think at least with that's just me in my head right now thinking through it. A 7mm would probably be a better option to go with, just from the standpoint of bullet selection, right? I mean, you still got a ton of great options in 270, but yeah, I would say 7mm. The 280 Ackley would be what I would go with. Do they need a north or south? Or only behind the shoulder? Norma ammo online is the cheapest hunting ammo I've ever seen, even the PPU. And I'm thinking that's how Fiocchi, however you say that, Field Dynamics. Jerry, hey, what's going on, Jerry? Bama, great to see you live. Yeah, I haven't. I hit a streak there where I was doing quite a bit of live streams, right? I kind of had a little bit of free time here and there, and so I would try to do a live stream anytime that happened. Haven't really had that type of time here lately, and then today, after I placed that order, I was like, hey, I got about an hour or so. I could jump on and do a live, so we're here. Mason's Leathers video on the 270 Winchester 145 ELDX performed very well. Yeah, go watch. The 6.5 Creedmoor did not. I think it's the 6.5 Creedmoor that failed, and the 30-06, I think it's the 178 grain ELDX and 30-06. I think those did not perform well at all, if I'm remembering right. Reloading fun. What a great question. What do you think of Hornady's podcast about groups being too small and sample size? So, I think with everything, you have to keep everything in context, and you got to provide a little bit of perspective, in my opinion, when it comes to that, right? Because if you're trying to get statistically significant sample sizes, they are 100% correct. You need to go shoot a crap ton of bullets downrange of whatever that load is to have a significant sample size. Do I care about a statistically significant sample size? No, I do not. I'll just be honest with you, I don't. I shoot 3-shot groups, 5-shot groups. That's it. You know why? Because I go and shoot animals at 400 yards and in. So I don't care. I don't shoot F-class. I'm not shooting PRS. I don't compete. I don't do any of that. To me, what I care more about is cold bore accuracy over anything else. That's what I care about. I care about one shot. So I care about, hey, I'm gonna go shoot, I clean my gun, I'm gonna go shoot. Is there a point of impact shift? Whatever. I'm gonna shoot that first round. And then I wanna track that over time as it relates to when I go back out and shoot that load under different environmental conditions, right? That's what I care about, because when I pull the trigger in a hunting situation, I have one shot, and that's all that matters. I don't care if that load, and I went and shot 100 rounds just to post it on Instagram to say that I'm cool and I wasted 100 rounds and I got a low SD, and okay, that's great, that's awesome. I'm happy you found a good load for your particular rifle and all that, right? All that stuff worked for you, that's awesome. But the way that I do load development, I could post a lot of pictures about a lot of animals that a lot of people have killed, and it's 3- and 5-shot groups. That's it. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence that just, and I'm not saying they're wrong for doing that. I think their podcast in particular, them and the Vortex guys, they do a great job of getting information out to the masses, right? And that's what's great about it, is because the amount of information, especially technical information, that they're bringing to the market is, in my mind, I think it's awesome. Same thing with Cortina. Go watch every interview that Eric Cortina does. You will learn so much about just precision and that world, right? Like, and how a firearm is supposed to work, right? And how they do load development, how they, make wind calls and read the wind and all this stuff, right? And their reloading processes, because they're right the opposite of what Hornady says, right? You go listen to Eric Cortina, he's like, I shoot 2 shots, and if it's not touching, I'll move on. Okay, that's not what the Hornady guys say, because they say, you need at least 20. Typically, you'll hear a lot of, hey, you need 20 shots is where they start to feel comfortable. Anytime you somebody asks them that, like, what's the shot count where you feel comfortable for a load, and how it's going to perform consistently, it's always like 20 shots. Well, you don't get that with load development methods. So it depends on what discipline you're talking about, who you're watching. There's a lot of that information out there, a lot of that stuff, and people get wrapped around the axle, they say you need to go shoot 500 shots before you can ever even really, start to do load development, right? You got to really break in and season that barrel. And then you got other people that say that barrel break-ins are not a real thing and pointless. And the only reason they exist is because manufacturers of the guns want you to slow down when you're actually going out to the range for the very first time, and you're not just hammering 30 rounds through the rifle as fast as you can shoot it. They want you to slow down, take your time, whatever, for the metallurgical properties of the barrel, right? Whatever. So you can find a video to back up what you believe, and you can find a video that's going to discredit or try to what you believe, right? That's all that stuff. So for me, it's great that they're getting that information out there, and you should want to validate. For me, like the 3 and 5 shot stuff, I do that because that tells me real quickly whether that's a good load or not. Like, I don't need to shoot 20 shots if through 3 shots my SD is through the roof and it's 50 and the group is 3 inches. Well, okay, it ain't gonna get no smaller. So what difference does it make if I shoot 17 more and just waste 17 rounds and go, yeah, that's pretty terrible. Like, yeah, I knew that in the first 3 shots. So, it's just stuff like that. You have to keep it, you just have to keep all this stuff in context, right? And you need to, all that stuff is great information. I got to actually start the cooking process. You guys I just got a text from my wife, so I actually got to get this in the oven. You guys are distracting me. I think what the Hornady guys are doing, that's great stuff for the industry as a whole. All right, this is gonna be in there about 30 minutes. It's 5:30 now. Let's see. So, what they're doing, like for reloaders and all that stuff, as a whole, I think is great. Getting all that information out there, a lot of the technical stuff. I know they just had Remington and CCI on the podcast the other day, talking about rimfire and primers and different stuff. Like, I think a lot of people lose that point though, where it's like, what we should be doing is let's listen to the information, right, that's being presented. Once you listen to the information, you absorb that information, you think about it, and you go, now how does that apply to my situation, right? How can I apply what they're saying? How can I apply it to my situation that will actually solve a problem? So I think that's the part that a lot of people don't think about, is a lot of people will just take this and then just run with it and say, okay, now I've got to change my whole load development method. Now I got to go load up, now I got to do 20 shots of every charge weight that I want to test, and like, oh man, and they go and they kind of get wrapped up in all that, and they don't even take a step back and go, wait a second, am I actually seeing a problem with the method that I'm using where this would solve the problem? So I think that's the part that, information just for information's sake is good, right? Because it gives us content to go watch. Like I love anytime they post a podcast. That's what I listen to when I work out at the gym, actually. I don't listen to music. I turn on a Hornady podcast, a Vortex podcast. I watch CW's videos, you know, the Snared Life, the main outdoor enthusiast. Like I just turn on a bunch of YouTube content. That's where I kind of listen and try to learn some stuff while I'm working out. So, but you have to take it and go, how does this apply to me and what I'm doing? And does it actually solve a problem for me? Or is it just good information to know, right? Or something you may want to try in the future. So, yeah, like for hunting applications. I mean, yeah, Little Crow Gunworks. I think his name's Troy. I think that's his name. Go watch. I encourage everyone, go subscribe to Little Crow Gunworks. Their subscriber count's insanely low, in my opinion, for the amount of knowledge that dude is dropping. Like it's, if you are a hunter first, right? Like if you want to hunt primarily, that's what you do. That will be a good channel to go watch. They're a custom gun builder. I mean, they're doing a 7mm series right now, comparing 7 PRC, 280 Ackley improved, 7 rim mag, and 28 Nosler. So it's a great series, I'll say. He's already posted several videos. Go check it out. But let's see. So not only are we going to do pork tenderloin, and that went in at 5:30, so that's come out at 6. But I'm just going to throw some of these. So deer smoked bratwurst with cheese. So these are gonna get thrown on a pan, and some andouille sausage, deer venison. So these will get thrown on a pan too and go in the oven. All this stuff's already cooked, right? It's already smoked. I just gotta heat it up. I don't feel like going outside, firing up the grill. I gotta scroll back, so I'm sorry, because I missed a bunch of y'all. Missed a bunch of this stuff. Tim, recommendation for concealed carry for my wife. Look at Springfield 911, not a 1911. Look at the 911. It's a 380 version. 380 compact, should be able to run the slide. That's a big thing. I think a lot of people miss that part too, because a lot of guys are like, hey, I want to get my wife something concealed carry. The smaller you go on a handgun, that thing is very difficult to rack the slide. Companies have adjusted, and they've come out with kind of like the Smith & Wesson EZ, right? That was a solution to that problem. But go look at the Springfield 911. I know it's a little pricey, but the slide, being able to run the slide and the trigger on that thing is amazing. It's got an external safety, so there's some benefit. Go check that out. I highly recommend the Springfield 911. Derek, I remember in the 80s and the early 90s when I did 5-shot groups because I was taught that way. Then I woke up and thought about the money. Oh, yeah, exactly. Jeff, I heard it somewhere, your group is never smaller than the second shot. It's definitely never smaller than yeah, I mean, after the second shot, it's, it ain't getting any smaller after the second one. I think I said third one earlier, but yeah, you're right. It's never getting any smaller after the second one. Keith off Winning in the Wind said the same thing. He shoots 2 shots. If they don't touch, he says there's no way the group gets better from there. Yeah, exactly. 2 shots. Yeah. I said 3 earlier, but you guys know what I meant. You know what I mean. After 2, it ain't getting any smaller. Derek, on your custom rifles, I do 2 shots to start also. If they're more than ½ inch apart, you stop. Yep. But you only hunt. Yeah. Reloading fun. I agree about the context for sure. I shoot F-class and still think context is important. We shoot 20 shots for record. I don't agree with Hornady. Yeah, exactly. So, see, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, you are all in. At least you understand. And that's what you have to look at it through. Again, what I said. How does this apply to what I'm doing? Does it fix a problem that I'm seeing? I think, especially in the firearms industry, you guys know as well as I do, they come out with a new cartridge and a new gun and a new this, that, and the other every year. They have to. It's product life cycle, it's marketing, it's manufacturing. They're not gonna, they're not gonna come out and say, hey, well, guys, we're not gonna do any more innovation. We're just gonna keep selling the same bullets we've been selling. Gonna keep selling the same guns we've been selling with the same actions that we've always had. Like, they're not gonna do that. So that's kind of part of it, but does the new stuff even solve a problem for you? Or will a Winchester Model 70 30-06 do everything you ever need it to, right? Like the 7PRC, a lot of people jumping on board. And now a lot of people not happy because Hornady had to kind of tweak their factory ammo and really didn't tell anybody about it until the whole internet blew up. And then it's like, oh, by the way, it's like, has anyone tweaked the 7 rim mag lately? Probably not. It's probably been pretty consistent for quite a while. So, you know, probably could have just kept buying that and been fine with it and done the job just fine, right? That, you know, it's all in context, right? What you're trying to do with it. 1 MOA is fine for hunting rifles. The guy on Little Crow Gunworks said 1 MOA is more realistic. Yep. Hornady and applied ballistics won't acknowledge barrel harmonics effect on accuracy, which I don't understand why. Oh yeah, you're going down the barrel tuner route now. That stuff cracks me up too. I just love, I'm like the guy in the stands, right, where I bought the general admission ticket and I'm just sitting up there eating a hot dog and drinking a Coke and eating some popcorn, and I'm just watching both sides. You know, somebody will come on a podcast and be like, oh, you know, barrel harmonics, this is why you use tuners, and you go to an F-class competition and there's nobody on the line without a tuner. Like, if you don't, you're wasting your time even showing up if you don't have a tuner on your gun. And then you go on the other side of the fence and they're like, hey, we did all this testing and here's all these different tuner settings and nothing was different than the baseline, and everything was essentially, it all came out in the noise that if you shot enough shots at all these different settings over time, everything's the same. It's just, I love that stuff. I just like to sit back and read all of it. I think it's great. Derek, I'd rather have a 1 MOA rifle that is consistent, very low ES than a quarter-minute rifle that randomly repeats the group with higher ES for hunting. And then you gave an examples. I'm just trying to get caught up, so I'm sorry. Newest 7PRC H1000. Okay. Completed the first 7 shots. UPS guy just dropped off the package, so. You gonna get him? Huh? You gonna get him? Get him. Protect the house. That's a good boy. All were inside 1 inch, meaning take my pick and go for 3-shot strings at any of them. Yep. Jeff said, I'll never know it all. I'm already watching Little Crow. Jerry, Little Crow talked about 2-shot location over time. He does it over days. Craig Smith. I drove by that Weaver meat processing on the way to Alabama Cerakote. Oh, dude, Craig. Phenomenal. I mention this from time to time on videos, especially if I show some of their stuff. Their summer sausage. I dare you to try to find a processor that makes better summer sausage than Weaver's. Like, good luck. Dude, they are the best, period. Like, the best. Oh, you don't like that package sitting out there? The dog's kind of freaking out about the package now. Their jalapeno cheddar, it's dynamite. Like, you can thank me later. But they'll process hogs. So if you kill a wild pig, they'll process those for you. They will process, like if you have cattle or something, I think they're FDA certified now, maybe. They did a massive expansion project last year. I think they processed, I think it was like over 6,000 deer or something this past season. I know it was well over 4,000. I think the final number was like, I can't remember if they said 6,000 or what. It's an insane amount, but they make the best specialty stuff, period. And their regular cuts are fine too. I mean, just standard ground deer meat. Everything's good from those guys. So I actually have this is deer smoked bacon from Weaver's. They do deer bacon. They do deer bologna. They do deer hot dogs. They got a bunch of stuff. They do snack sticks. They do summer sausage. They do meatballs. Meatloaf. They do a meatloaf. all kinds of stuff. So yeah, check them out. Really good. Reloading fun. Hornady did a bad job conveying the information. They did initially. I will say that. And they came back and they addressed that on Think Future podcast. They did kind of just out of the gate, which, you know, to them, but that's what they do day in and day out. That's the world they live in. So they just come out and say, hey, here's the information we have. This is how we do things. This is, you know, if you want a statistically significant sample or whatever, like that's statistics. That's just, it is what it is. Like they were just stating facts, right? And I think you know as well as I do, there's way too many variables in this game to be like, yes, this is a 100% absolute. So they just kind of, yeah, I don't think they expected not the backlash, but I don't think they expected the amount of feedback they got, right? It's kind of like don't buy a first year car model. Yeah, exactly. Especially when they do the model change. Yeah. Or they do like the body change or something, you know, they have a big major update. Like don't buy the first year. Just wait. You had their summer sausage for lunch, big hit at the office. Oh yeah. Anytime I take it anywhere, it's like the hands down. It was even like that at a company, at a work function I went to, where another guy brought in summer sausage from a different processor, and almost all his stuff was left, and mine was completely gone. Like they wiped out the Weavers, and he was like, well, I guess I know where I need to get my summer sausage from now on. I'm like, yep. Weaver snack sticks. Oh yeah, you had 3 deer processed entirely, snack sticks and summer sausage. It's a big bill. However, I will, like, again, I challenge you, go to a grocery store and buy a log of summer sausage and look at how much that costs. And then compare it to, now of course, it's expensive because you're doing it all at once. But like say if you really love summer sausage and you buy a lot of it from the grocery store or whatever, just over time, I guarantee you pay way more, pound for pound. You're gonna pay way more at a grocery store than you will at Weaver's. If you drop off a deer and place an order, are you actually getting the meat from your deer? Oh no, it's the amount of deer they process and how they have it done. I guarantee you're not getting your deer, right? And it probably any that I'm aware of, any processor that does specialty stuff, you're more than likely not getting your deer, because they're not going to take your one deer and go, okay, we got 10 pounds of summer sausage. Let me take this one deer and go make the summer sausage with it. Dude, they're going to go, hey, how many deer we got? What's our orders look like? How many pounds of summer sausage? This many, because they got the recipe dialed in. It's so dialed in. Like they got it down to a science. They're just going to say, hey, we're taking all these deer. You need 10 pounds of summer sausage. Here's your 10 pounds, right? So now like the backstrap and the tenderloins and that type of stuff, I'm assuming it's from your deer. Like I've never, because I always get my backstraps whole. Even if I take a deer up there and get specialty stuff, I'll typically do like backstraps whole, tenderloins whole, and then just do the rest maybe in specialty stuff or ground meat, right? But the specialty stuff, you have to order a certain amount, or you can just tell them, hey, I want my whole deer done in specialty stuff, and they'll go, okay, well, what's the weight of the deer? They'll weigh it, and then they'll go, this is how much meat we're gonna get out of it, so here's how many pounds of specialty items you're gonna get, right? But yeah, it's, I don't know a processor that is like, yes, I'm gonna take this deer and make all these items and then just give you that. I don't know anyone that does that. But yeah, they're top tier for sure. Even before reloading fun, even before the tuner thing, Hornady and Applied Ballistics were saying there's only mechanical factors like firing pin springs, barrel consistency, good stock that affect accuracy. I made sure of that this past season. You definitely get your own deer. Okay, Derek says you do get your own deer. Okay, again, I hadn't made it that far down in the comments. Well, that's cool. I didn't even know that. So I guess they do, you know what I'm saying, track it by your deer. Well, that's good to know. Chris says, my rule of thumb is, does it make me more efficient of a hunter? Dead is dead. That's 100%. Reloading fun. Barrel uniformity is a better word, probably. Weaver actually assured me I had to bring enough meat to reach a batch they made for me. Oh, okay. Or said I would never get any meat from someone else's deer. Okay, so I never asked that question, but Derek has talked to Weavers, and they assured him that you do get your deer, right? Whatever you order, that is your deer that you dropped off. So that's cool. Hey, what's going on, Justin? Jeff has jerky drying now. You know where it came from, that's right. Hey, what's going on from South Africa? That's pretty cool. Well, sorry if you joined late, because we're actually about to stop the live stream. I got to get this stuff in the oven. So I've already got the tenderloin in, the pork tenderloin. I got to get these smoked andouille sausages and bratwurst in the oven. They're just heating up though. They're not actually cooking. Derek, now 3 other processors towards Florence do tell you your deer's mixed with others when it comes to burger and stuff. Okay, well see, that's kind of how I was operating, was just if you think about it, it just kind of makes sense from a processing standpoint. Like it would be a nightmare, in my opinion, to try to keep up with all that and make sure, hey, you're getting your deer and all this other stuff. You know, it would just probably be a lot easier and more efficient on them if they just combined everything. So that's kind of where I was coming from. Let's see. All right, let me get these on a pan. You get an action? Oh no, that's still on the list. Hey, when I said I used up the barrel budget, I meant it. So it's which of course I did just place an order at American Reloading. So but as far as the project to spin up a 7mm, I got the barrel. So now the action or that type of, that's what we're looking at now. We got to get these in the oven. All right, there we go. Those bratwurst, by the way, with cheese, those are really, really good if you want to do like sauerkraut. You got you some sauerkraut and throw it in a pan and cut up some of those brats and throw them in there, or leave them whole. That's what I did last time. Really good. Pure Precision on sale now. Red Hawk rifles, good deal. Yeah, I've been looking at getting a used something or another, but again, hadn't been looking too hard. Every now and then I'll take a gander and see what's out there. But all right, we're going on 93 minutes, so we're about to have to call this one quits. Craig, oh yeah, you're welcome. Derek helped me out by letting us know that you do get your actual deer. I was operating under the assumption that you didn't, but either way, whether you get your deer or not, I'm telling you, man, that stuff's phenomenal. You will not be disappointed. What about, yeah, exactly. Well, I was thinking about getting like a used, like a Tika, just a Tika T3X and 30-06 or something like that, or 270, just getting a used one and rolling with it. That's kind of what I'm thinking. That's the route that I'm really thinking about going down. I've looked at like maybe getting a used Remington 700, but the Tikas, those are so nice from the factory. And if I can get a used one or find one on sale, just a base model, yeah, that's probably the route that I'll end up going. So, all right, but we're about to call it quits. So I got everything in the oven, and wife should be home any minute. So I got to get everything ready for dinner. But used Rem 700 can be cheap right now. You got 2 for 400. Nice, 400 each. Yeah, that's really cheap. The cheapest, I saw one the other day. I think it was a Remington 700 chambered in 270 Winchester, and it actually came with a couple of detachable mags. They already had a bottom metal in it, a couple of detachable mags. It was like $450. So almost pulled the trigger on that one. But all right, that's where we're gonna leave it. We're gonna call it done. but then you pay 200 to blade. Exactly. That's why I'm thinking about just going with a Tikka, because you got to pay, you know, on the Remingtons, you would, or at least for this project, I would want something that is a little more like the Tikka, right? Just out of the factory, really, really solid action with a good factory trigger, you know. So, but that's it. We'll talk to everybody later. Stay tuned for some more 270 Winchester videos where I'm going to be testing different bullets and the Midwest Powders MP620 powder that is comparable to Reloader 19. So looking forward to that. But that's it. All y'all have a good evening or a good morning / day wherever you're at in the world. And we will catch y'all next time. So we'll see y'all later.